Welcome to the content studio here at ISE 2023. And our topic is business signage, business critical, and M&A. And our guest is Matt Goche, CEO, brand new CEO
Thank you.
from Uniguest. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. It's really good to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me today.
You're pretty new in the job, right? I mean, not with Uniguest, but being a CEO.
21, 22 days now.
Wow.
So very new.
So you're still in your 100-day period.
That's right. Just took over from Jeff Hiscox, who'd been our CEO for 6 years. I had been with the business that same 6 years as the COO. So very excited about this juncture. We're kind of at an inflection point in growth for both the industry and our business. So I'm excited for the job.
And you had some very busy 6 years.
Very busy 6 years.
You did a lot of M&A during that time. How many companies did you buy?
In the last 5 years, we've acquired 12 businesses.
Wow.
But 8 of them were in the last 24 months. So since we came out of the pandemic, we've really picked up the pace. Each one has been focused on either a particular market or vertical, or a particular piece of IP that we felt kind of rounded out our content management system. But it's definitely been busy.
How would you define Uniguest as today? Is it a software company, an end-to-end company? Is it, you have everything. I mean, historically, you're coming from the hospitality industry,
Yes.
as is easy to figure out. But how would you define your company today and your offering?
That's part of what I've loved over the last 6 years with the business is just watching the transformation. We started as a hotel service provider, and today we're a digital engagement software business. So every deal we do, every customer we support is focused on our software, our content management system. But then from there, depending on the needs of the customers, we will provide additional services, certainly support, installation, potentially hardware, whatever we need to kind of round out, working with our channel partners to make sure that the customer is best served. But at heart, we're a digital engagement software business. That's the core of the business.
Having bought so many companies, you bought a couple of software platforms. How do you manage to integrate them? What's the process you're going through there?
Yeah, it takes analysis, right? Because every business we've acquired was winning in the market prior to acquisition. That's part of what attracted us to them. So their solution was either tailor-made for a particular market or for a particular use case. In most cases, we're trying to then pull them into kind of our core platform. But in some cases, we're continuing on with that standalone product for either a particular vertical or subset. So that's one of the most pressing decisions post-acquisition is how that product set fits in to our overall product set. And then secondly, it's the go-to-market strategy because some of the acquisitions had a different philosophy for go-to-market. We go to market primarily through channels, and we make sure that we're best supporting the channel partner for that end user.
And then there's always an organizational and cultural aspect to doing M&A and integration.
Especially with your international things, because in contrast to many of your competitors, you have done a lot of cross-Atlantic acquisitions.
That was the thesis at the beginning, right? When I started with Uniguest, we were 99% US based. 99% of our revenue came from the US. And we needed to follow our customers. We had global customers. They expected us to be in Europe, in Asia Pac to support them. So our initial couple acquisitions were outside the US. Today, about a third of our business comes from outside the US. But that culture that you mentioned is absolutely key, right? So that's kind of the main box that has to be checked, that there's going to be a good combination of the people and the organizations when they come together. Processes and how we work, we can fix that, or we can organize around that, assuming that we have the buy-in and the right culture among the people. So it's been a great experience, acquiring businesses in very different places.
I'm switching gears a bit now. I'm coming back to the more of the product and offering side. We've been talking about in the past about business critical applications.
Yes.
for digital signage. How do you see yourself or Uniguest positioned in that field? Is that a lot of the business you're doing really business critical?
That's what I loved your guys' yearbook last year. I think you did a really nice job. But what I thought was the most interesting point that you made is that digital signage, which only a few years ago was largely discretionarily funded, has shifted now, and it is a business critical application for a range of markets. And we support primarily hospitality, senior living or aged care, stadiums, corporate, retail, banking, and education. Those are our primary markets. We're starting to expand into some of the other ones, but each of those markets has a different need. But in the end, the signs or the TVs or whatever the interface is has to be operational. Take a stadium, right? On game day, you got 1,000 screens. It has to be operational, no question about it.
Yep.
And so we love as the whole product category has shifted into business critical. We have a 60-person operations center surrounded by another 60 folks who work within our operations team, and their sole goal is to support those customers and keep them operational. We care very deeply about our Net Promoter Score. We measure every interaction we have, not just with our buyer, but with the end user. And we view that as a real differentiator for us. As digital signage become an uptime and the security around it become more important, we see us winning that space. And so I love kind of just how that market's progressed.
And technically, has that been a big challenge for you to actually build the technology to be able to manage those networks?
I mean, we think we've always been doing it, even before it was kind of a requirement of the space. And so within our CMS, tracking uptime of signs, being able to respond, having automatic triggers to reload or restart or notify someone if there's some sort of interruption. A lot of that's already baked in the system and has been there a long time. It's just coming of age now. And I think the marketplace is kind of catching up to where we think it should be.
And from the hardware side, I mean, do you have preferred partners there you work with, or is it just as easy with one brand as it is with the other?
We certainly have preferred partners where we try to build software that's as hardware agnostic as we possibly can be, but we want to make sure that there's a good supply chain and reliable for our customer, our end user. We want to make sure that the hardware is reliable, so we do a lot of end-to-end testing in our office before we ever ship anything out to a customer, and just making sure that the reliability in the field is going to be what that customer expects.
When we walk through the halls here at ISE, we hear a lot about managed services, and that the industry is changing. It's not buying a software and the hardware and that's it, but customers don't wake up in the morning, they want to buy a screen, they want a solution, I guess. So it's also something you're thinking about, to moving towards managed services, even going the way to maybe power by the hour in the extreme form sometimes in the future, that you don't pay for a screen, you pay for a service because it's critical?
I mean, managed service is what we depict our operations as. Right? It's making sure that whatever the purpose of the screen is, right? Advertisement, information, communications, internal comms, external comms, a lot of different needs, TV, whatever the purpose of it is to engage with that audience, that end user, it needs to be operational. It has to, not just the screen, it has to have the right content. The content must be fresh. It has to, the user has to be able to consume it in the way they want, whether it's on a kiosk, for a mobile app, voice, TV, whatever the purpose is, the end result has to be received. And so that's, while we're a software company at our heart, that's not the whole story, right? Yeah. It's getting the content right, and then it's delivering
devices too, because without the device, it doesn't work.
The whole ecosystem, right? Yeah. And so in some markets, we'll lean further into different parts of that to round out, the partners and what the end user is asking for. In some markets, it's just a pure SaaS offering. So we think we're, kind of attempting to strike the right chord in each market.
Cool. I love the way how you describe that. So the full offering. But an important part of being a provider of business critical solutions is also IT security.
Yes.
How do you go about that?
You're definitely speaking my language there. That's been my career. Started my career with the U.S. military, then became a consultant for the U.S. government, all around cyber. And so cyber, is in the public space is even more unique than in a very secured corporate environment, right? So if you have kiosks or anything that's interactive in the public space, you don't always know who the user is. I position it, right? If your corporate office, you have multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Well, in the public space, there's no factor authentication. It's whoever came up to the screen. So we have to protect the innocent user who potentially could leave behind information on themselves. We have to protect from a malicious user who may want to use that public device to get into a corporate network. And we have to protect the network we're on. I mean, AV used to be kind of on its separate network. Today, it's all IP based, so it's all on the same network. And so our software, we're aiming to be as secure as possible, pen tested. Every release gets a review. We're interacting with our customers to do their own review. This part we take very seriously.
Fantastic. I think we're out of time, Matt. There's so much more to talk. We just have to come back, I think. Next
Certainly,
time.
It's been a pleasure.
So, Matt, thank you. Thank you for being here, and all the best for your new job.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys. Appreciate what you do for the industry.
Thanks.